Commission meeting for September the 11th, 2014. We have no Title 33 or Title 37 issues, and so we'll move straight to the report from Assistant Service Safety Director Ron Lucas. Ron, please, what have you got for us?
I have an Arbor Day tentatively scheduled for October 17th, which is a Friday between OU's homecoming and our block party. So I talked to Kara Gaines, who is the principal at the Athens Middle School, to do a program there. We have not done a program at the middle school since I've been working on Arbor Day, and she's open to it, and she'd like to schedule a meeting. So I'll work on that. But I think that I'd like to do something along the lines of planting some trees where the current ash trees are, and then do an educational component on the emerald ash borer for not only the community but also the 7th and 8th graders that'll be there.
Okay.
And we can do all of our typical things that we do. We can have the students help with the tree planting and the mulching, and maybe we can do a short tree identification program, snacks and things like that for everybody. But looking at probably 1 2 p.m. So if anybody's able to assist me with that effort, I would appreciate it. If it's just from a programming standpoint, if you would want to do a tree ID session or discuss the emerald ash borer, I'd be more than happy to have your assistance on that. So.
Just let me know what you want me to do.
Okay. Ian is going to help. Awesome. So.
What do you? I don't know if this is possible, but is it? Can the video people here videotape something like that?
We have had in the last couple of years. We've had the government channel do some footage. So I will talk to them and see if we can do something.
We might
like
be able
that.
to edit something into a PSA or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great.
There's a lot of good stuff out there too. You can pre-made, like canned, or the CDs, the videos already are made.
Are there any types of literature or educational things that are targeting younger people for the
there's
EAB?
some pretty cute stuff on EAB, like the Green Menace, and they're
Okay.
I'll
Great.
try to.
Excellent. Fall planning is coming up. I'd like to get that going in November if we could. That's partially due to Mason Chambers' schedule. He wants to get it done a little bit earlier this year, so we're looking at probably around $7,500 to $10,000 to use for our fall planning. AEP, Asplund is going to do they're going to be doing some line clearance on the far east side, starting late September and continuing through December. So I had some correspondence with Steve Stanley, the forester at AEP, and Brian Benz, who is the job supervisor for Asplund, and we will work closely with them to make sure that we're
one of the issues that cropped up
doing a
last
job.
time they were in the Far East side was there are some easements there which I think are actually private property easements and not city easements. And I think you have to work with the AEP to see if they can communicate better with the people that own those properties. Typically what happens is you've got two streets in the Far East side, and between those two streets the electric line runs down the middle, along the line connecting the properties that face onto those streets. And as far as I can tell, that's not a city right of way. It's some easement that they must have with the private owners. And they certainly last time there was not as much communication as there should have been, I think, with people over access at that point.
Okay.
So if you could look at that with them,
Sure.
I think that would help ease some of the problems. Maybe I'll get fewer phone calls.
Yeah. Thank you. It's good to know. So they're going to be doing everything from State Street and Maplewood, Elmwood, all the way out through Tulane, Harris, Utah, through Townsend, all the way to Cook Drive. So some near east side, but all of the far east side. So, yeah. Greg Broadhurst is going to have a tree planting in his honor, in his memory, at West State Street Park, and I was going to do that as part of the fall planting. Don't have a location cited yet, but it will be somewhere near the entryway to the West State Street Park. He was very fond of the open space and green space of that park, so the West Side Neighborhood Association thought that would be a good spot. Yeah.
Big old shade tree, right?
Probably going to be a big old shade tree. Don't have a species yet, but yeah.
No foo-foo.
Yeah. And there may end up being multiple trees. So,
Yeah, that's good.
but we're going to fund one. So.
And the other named tree or person we were going to try planting trees for was Alvy Williams as well.
Yeah, and a location, would that be determined by
If you've got suggestions,
Project Plan or you,
yeah,
Tree Commission?
you could ask Project Plant if they've got any particular sites where a large shade tree could be planted.
I think
Typically they
had
don't.
an oak tree for her at the community center, but it died. And she did mention that not too long ago, so maybe, sister oak tree or something.
There is an oak tree in memory of her husband at the library.
Oh, yeah.
Be interesting.
Any particular oak that she favored?
I think swamp white oak she liked, and that's one
I
that'll...
think that we talked about that at the
Tough.
luncheon.
Yeah, that's
Swamp
right,
white
we did ask her.
The tree plan and take a picture and send it to her. Yeah, so, okay.
She liked that.
Community center could use some trees. We just cut down a few of the dead ones that were on the islands, and then we did a removal for the support of the Visitors Bureau's native plant garden. So we could use some plantings. And then we'd like to replace some of the trees in Bicentennial Park that we had to remove.
You might do like thornless hawthorn or thornless honey locust, in front of the community center. Try to get something that's up and gonna frame, and have more of a open crown. Instead of like the pears and the ash. If they had lived, they would have been kind of blocking the entrance. And maybe Emily can get some other
American
ideas.
elms would be another one.
Oh yeah, those hybrid elms that you can actually get now at nurseries. I bet you Mason could get those. And they grow fast too.
Yes. Yeah, the university's got some already.
One thing that I would like to mention, there have been so many old sugar maples around that have been dying in places that would be impractical to replant. And I think that if we are doing some planting in an area with good soil and more root space, we should think of sugar maples as a possibility.
Yeah, the biggest tree for the site always. Yeah, and if they're really, really good sites, a sugar maple might do okay. Jared, you should can you tell the calcium story?
Oh, well, I gotta tell you though, if it's in the Hocking River Valley that we have here, calcium loads are pretty high, but one of the things that sugar maple needs a lot of is calcium, and there's been a lot of research to suggest that if there's low calcium availability in the soil, that the trees get stressed and other things knock it out. So I don't know, my gut feeling is if you're planting the thing, throw in some limestone or something like that, and seriously, and it'll weather very slowly through time, but that might help mitigate some of the issues. But again, I don't see that too much of a problem, at least in the native soils, but up by the community center, from what I've heard before, that used to be
It's an airfield.
Oh, yes.
that could not have native soil, so it could be depleted, and I know there's some compaction issues, but that's one of the issues that could increase the robustness of the sugar maples. And I know they grow great on, around the Ridges Land Lab and things like that on dry sites. They do well.
Yeah.
But it seems like this site, though, there might be something unusual about the soil that could explain.
It's like the undisturbed site. If you've got a really good, like an old home where the soil hasn't been disturbed,
Yeah.
they
What about the West State Street Park?
Oh.
It's a lot of open area.
And it's
there.
pretty, it's floodplain, so it's pretty good soil. Maybe a soil test or something that. We all look at Ron.
No, that's
fine.
fine in that area. Are you talking about, I mean,
West
I
State
haven't,
Street.
the West State Street Park, I mean, I haven't actually sampled soils there, but around that area, it's perfectly fine.
Oh,
So-
well then sugar maple would be, so even maybe Greg Broadhurst tree could be a sugar maple.
I mean, sycamore would be better there.
Oh, sycamore, yeah,
Fine.
and messy and, unwieldy, like, no.
Yeah.
But it's not on somebody's property.
No, I'm with you, I was
Yeah.
referencing Greg, so.
Wasn't there a sycamore at West State Street near the playground area that the top had been broken out of? I don't know if that's been removed, but
Yeah, that was actually a maple, I believe, and that was 2 or 3 years ago, maybe, that split and the top came out in maybe one of the bigger storm events we had. There may have been a sycamore removed down there, but I remember that tree. It split, and is that the one that came down near the playground?
near the shelter and the
Yeah.
playground, yeah.
The last thing, is it still my report? The last thing I had was I am working with Jacqueline Klepfer from Ohio University. She was one of the students that started our tree inventory and assessment, and as part of her graduate program, she is going to continue that project, and we'll have her through May of 2015. So she's going to do a good job. She's doing GPS locations, and she's got a data bank in there where she's rattling through trees and locating them left and right. And she's also going to compare that to the 91 inventory to see where the trees still are and where they're not. It should be a good project.
We actually found a hickory on Congress last week, like a beautiful, beautiful hickory that somebody must have planted as a street tree. It's really one of the nicest trees on that street. There's more diversity than I would have thought. It's impressive.
So I told her that I will work closely with her as part of the class project. But I asked her to be prepared to come to this board a couple times to give updates on her project. So I'll be putting that on the agenda.
And she'll be giving an update at the tree care
Yeah,
conference
she will
on
be
Thursday.
at the tree care conference. Yeah,
Good.
that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. The next item is the Emerald Ash Borer Management Plan that we discussed at our last meeting, and I'd like to bring to a vote today. The main differences between last time and this time is that I've removed the reference to 2 appendices and inserted web links to the government websites that have the particular pieces of information that we wanted. So that
I've seen it though.
should make things easier for people to find. I also deleted 2 of the contacts that one was no longer there, the other one was an interim, so we didn't want to list that person for the time being. Are there any other changes that people would like to see to this plan?
I move that we accept the plan as presented.
Okay,
I'll second that.
thank you. Any further discussion? If not, are there any objections to accepting this as the city's plan for dealing with the Emerald Ash Borer? All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. In that case, we have a plan. Please present it to your boss, Ron. Thank you. Under items of other business, I guess you'd like to tell us about the Tree Care Conference.
Well, we've got 100 people registered, so I don't need to publicize. Yeah, you'll be standing in the back if you haven't registered yet. Yeah, but we've got a lot of really good speakers. A lot of local people planning to attend, tree commissioners, gardeners. We have 2 local certified arborists, commercial arborists who are attending. So those of you who are attending will get to meet them. I did have something not related. Well, I had two things not related to the conference. One was I'm offering a Tree Commission Academy in Portsmouth on September 30th. It's a really far drive for you all, and you all have been tree commissioners for many, many years, so you're probably like, oh, I need more training. But it is a great program. 100% of the people that have gone through it with me have said that it was worthwhile, and they've gone through the whole thing. So it might have been painful at first. So it's something to just consider for your community, especially if there are younger people that you want to bring on. I know with Alvy leaving, there might be openings for new people, and I'm happy to do it. So it's Tree Commission Academy. And then the only other thing I had was just a brainstorm. I was shopping at Lowe's yesterday, and I went across the parking lots and noticed that there are ash trees at Lowe's and at Walmart and at assorted businesses. And I wanted to just throw it out there that, it might be something worthwhile if somebody on the commission was, delegated to visit with those store managers and talk to them about EAB and about tree replacement. The trees are small enough, if you replaced them now, I think you could get the stumps out pretty easily and get new trees in. I think if we wait, plus the trees are just going to, the Walmarts are already looking pretty. Walmarts have been dying before emerald ash borer came. That's not emerald ash borer, that's the native borer. But I think the messages would be, replace and the biggest tree for the spot. We want to see shade trees. I see beautiful, expensive landscaping going in at Kroger's, and it's foo-foo desert plants. So we want canopy. So, it would just be, and I'd be willing to go with you guys if, but I suppose you'd get good at it if you went to each store manager, Sorry. I know you're all busy, but.
Now, this was discussed at the last meeting that
oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Not in the detail you were doing it at, but
sorry.
The fact that as part of the Emerald Ash Borer plan, we have outreach to deal with, and particularly we need to find a way to talk to the Title 37 people. These are people who have landscapes required under Title 37, and we need to figure out ways to help them replace those ash trees that are part of those landscapes.
Yeah, it's worth doing. I think it's an opportunity for you guys to be leaders. I think there's definitely a silver lining, and I hate to say it, but I think it's the one-on-one, the personal contact. Like, who could say no to Emily and Lee? I mean, and I could go with you guys, but I think it's just that one-on-one leadership. Or Ron, or so. I know you're busy, but.
Well, what I think we need to do is develop some materials, and you may have the text we need, but we need to stick it on city letterhead.
Okay.
That needs to be something coordinated through Ron and his office, I think, to make sure we're doing all the right things.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And yes, I think tree commissioners could certainly be part of that outreach effort.
I can put. I'll just put some.
We can put some type of, or multiple educational.
Yeah. You see, you need
meetings or
for some private property owners who are going to lose a lot of the ash trees on their, or they'll lose all the ash trees, but it's a big fraction of the trees that are on their property.
Yeah.
One of the things we discussed was the potential for the city to figure out if there's a way to buy trees in larger quantities for some of these people to then use to replace.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That would give us some control over species, because
And
we could pick particularly native species that we'd like to see come back into the tree canopy in the city.
And I don't know of a percentage, but a lot of people that I talk to when discussing, do you want us to replace that tree that you were cutting down with a right-of-way tree? And then they'll say yes, and the next question may be, well, what type of tree would you like? A lot of people say, I don't care. I just want a tree. You pick.
So I
so
I don't think it's going to be a problem with it, but I think it is something that we should investigate. Is there a way that through a local business we can help get some of these trees replaced by a coordinated action?
Yeah, and the wholesale prices are significantly cheaper if you buy, 20 to 30 versus 5 to 10.
Yeah.
So that could
And
be
if we could have like 4 or 5 trees in a little brochure with a little description of them, and so that, including like what kind of site that is good for them, and their advantages, and maybe not have the householder necessarily choose, but to help us, because that way, if we narrow it down to just several, then it'll be easier to buy them in larger quantities and get a good price. So.
I think it's a good idea.
I have something to add on this. So just earlier this week, by chance, I was in the Dayton area on a university campus, and I noticed that a lot of their ash trees were actually being treated. What are the costs associated with treating these trees? And maybe someplace like Lowe's might decide that they want to treat it. So is that some information that we can give them instead of cutting it down and replacing it and have a small tree for a while? What does it cost to treat one of these?
Well, I mean, there are costs, and I've heard ranges, but from what I've learned from hearing from people that have been dealing with this for a lot of years, it's really hard to keep the trees alive, especially on marginal sites. I want to say it was like $10 an inch, so, but you got to treat every year.
For $10 an inch every year?
Yeah, which on a small tree,
You're talking about
now there's
diameter.
inch in diameter, and don't quote me on that, because I've heard
Yeah.
higher, but I've heard,
So
I keep hearing 10.
what I'm getting at, this is probably not an option we would want to present. It's like chop it down, put something in there.
I think it's more sustainable to start over.
Okay.
It's certainly an option. There's a really good fact sheet that's put out by the Cooperative Extension with ODA and ODNR, and it's called Insecticide Options, I think, for homeowners dealing with ash or something. And we can reference that. I think I've sent that to you guys. If not, email me. But, the neonicotinoids have been shown to be connected with bee decline, and so there's that. There are some other classes of chemicals that are systemic, so you drill a hole into the tree. But we've got to work with, I don't know of any contractors locally that even can do that.
Okay, so that doesn't seem to be it. I was just,
Yeah,
they're doing that here.
Yeah, and it's something we should talk
Pretty
about.
crummy looking trees though, so.
How big were the trees?
Yeah.
Oh, they were, I would say, I would be shocked if they were above 4 inches.
Oh,
They're pretty small.
because
It's
I know
been-
they've been done for specimen trees.
Yeah, that would be where I would
Where
This
say.
was
somebody
just in a
really,
parking
really
lot.
wants to.
I mean, this just looked like, you could easily pop, but it just gave me that, well, maybe this is cheaper than I thought.
Well, I think it buys time. Like
Okay.
Lakewood, which is a pretty higher end suburb of Cleveland, they had something like, don't quote me on these numbers, but it was thousands of ash trees. And they chose to treat some just to spread the cost of removal out, because if they're all going to die about the same time, you can't remove them all. They picked their best ones, and they have like a boulevard, it might even be Lakeshore Drive, where they had a lot of ash, and they, the look of the road is important, and so they're treating those. And so I know there's some places in Dayton where there were like promenades of ash that I think they were.
This was on the campus of Wright State University. It could have been a research project for all I know.
Yeah. I think for us, we want to, go on.
I was just going to say, it's been my impression that people who do that have a beautiful tree in an important location, and they're not too concerned about how much it costs to save that tree. And I think, I can't remember who it was I've heard talking about this, but someone who was familiar with the emerald ash borer problem was certified to use these materials and was treating his own tree.
Okay.
And so the materials were expensive, but he didn't have to pay someone to do it.
Yeah, and homeowners by law, they can apply, you can purchase those chemicals pretty easily. But if you're doing them on public trees, so if the city was going to hire a
The licensed
contractor.
applicator.
Yeah, they have to be an ODA. Which, the city has those, there's probably people on staff that can do that.
Not anymore.
Okay. But it's really, I think, to be really practical for the business owners, the trees are at a size right now, like Lowe's, and they're probably already they have round-headed borers in them anyway. Whack them, get something going there, like hackberry or the hybrid elm. that can get started and be a true asset to the site for the long term.
How are elms in parking lots? Do
They're
they
great.
have
They're
that
vase shaped.
vase?
Yeah.
So do they tend to, is it okay with cars? and-
Yeah, because they're growing like they've got them. They're really vase shaped. They're really kind of low maintenance.
So they don't interfere like with
Not as
pickup trucks
puffy and round as the ash were. Yeah.
Okay.
My wife and I planted a hybrid elm, a Princeton elm, in front of the community center, and it's doing really well right now.
Good, great.
Yeah.
So my question was, if they are treating these ash trees with chemicals, what is the success rate? Or is it just a holding pattern?
You know, I know the cases the trees that I've seen, they've been treating a lot of trees in Zanesville, and the trees all have emerald ash borer. It's heartbreaking because, like, I go to these people's houses and they're spending a lot of money, and I hated to tell them. I mean, now granted, the argument is the bug is still going to come, but maybe it just, you have to, there's a whole philosophy, you know, there's this big wave where there's tons and tons of emerald ash borers, like this is next year in Athens, because, you know, all those adults laid eggs this year. And so, you know, this population's going to really explode. You have to really douse these trees with the chemical during that wave, and then supposedly, you know, once all the trees die and the population crashes, you get down to really only treating your tree a little bit. But I mean, the trees that I've seen, they look so bad, and I think structurally, I don't know. I just haven't seen any successes yet. And granted, I'm not that experienced, but.
And it seems like as a tree commission, more so than the cost, we should be concerned about the environmental impact of using such chemicals. So I certainly wouldn't support the use of chemicals. So.
Especially with no outcome,
safety of
with a
having-
poor
Right.
outcome.
It just doesn't seem practical. I just wanted to ask.
Yeah, it's good that we talk about it, because you're gonna get asked by a lot of people
Well, that's
too.
where I think part of the materials that we need to assemble, if you've got stuff either in the form of a web link or an actual document.
I'll send that. I believe, isn't it insecticide options for homeowners? It's really good, and it gives the pros and the cons. And
Or at least to let folks know that, you know, even if you do it, it doesn't guarantee anything.
No.
And chances are it's just going to delay.
well, that's our opinion, and I don't think the brochure goes that far. But you know, but it.
Well, just to be, yeah.
But there's no way to eradicate the emerald ash borer, and therefore, if you've got the tree there, you're going to have to keep treating it until it's, 100 years old or something, and then it dies. I mean,
Oh,
Well,
until
and
it
here-
reaches the end of its natural life.
yeah. That's why I never saw treating the trees as a viable proposition.
Well, but somebody might say, like a Lowe's or somebody who has a lot of them, they might say, if we can slow it a little bit in some areas, and by our time, you know, when we were talking here about Lakewood needing to, you know, trying to slow some of it down so they didn't have themselves in a position where they were removing so many trees at one time. So somebody might want to, you know, look at a combination or a multiple strategy on how to deal with it. And I would be happy as a shade tree commissioner to visit with people. I would be happy to do that. One thing though, like for instance, I would really like to have a count and things. Like you go to Lowe's and say, a lot of people there may not even know what what the ash tree looks like, and so you need a count and be able to talk to them about it and that kind of thing. So.
Well, not all their trees are ash. They have
Right.
several
Yeah, they have a lot of
varieties.
acres.
Right. So, yeah, and I know we've done an assessment around the community, so we probably have a pretty good count. And
I don't think we have anything in parking lots,
Right, we
though.
don't
But
have
I
any
think what you could
private
do,
property.
just go. You know, I think that might have to just be a site thing right before you go
Yeah,
visit.
you can go look at the site and determine how many you have, and then you would know what.
But
And
Yeah,
luckily,
right.
that's the thing, you know, John, we are lucky compared to most municipalities. Number one, you guys have been proactive. You haven't been planting ash for, 10 years now? Or 8?
We've been telling people with Title 37 not to plant ash trees as
Yeah,
well.
so, I mean, there are
the
towns
ones that
like
Lowe's
Dayton
predate that.
has tons of ash. You know, Dayton boomed in the 90s, you know, in every subdivision, they planted ash. We didn't do that down here, so we don't have the volume. I mean, we're going to see spotty. I wouldn't be surprised if some people just don't even Like they'll be like, oh, what was all the big to do about ash trees? I mean, we as tree lovers will notice it, and you're going to start to see the brown, in the woods. But we're not going to have the line of dead trees like so many towns. The worst that you're going to have is that entrance right at the community center. And hardly any people notice that.
Well, I think the other thing to point out to the businesses is that if the tree dies, and the death is relatively rapid, isn't it, with the EAB?
Well, they're already
2 to
looking
5
bad
years.
now.
Right, but what I'm saying is that, what I'm trying to put, it's more expensive to have a dead tree removed than a dying tree.
Yeah.
Now, maybe these trees are so small it doesn't make any difference. but-
Yeah, I think the cost is going to be the stump grinding, and the replacement. It's easy. They're small enough to cut them down, but they're going to have to make sure they contact OOPS. It's going to be we're going to have to. We probably do need a checklist for these
Well, that
folks.
was what I was suggesting we need to come up with. The first thing is tree identification, so we can show them what an ash tree looks like, so we can possibly identify it. And then the steps they've got to go through in terms of removal, but also a sheet that deals with the emerald ash borer, explaining what it is and what the prognosis is for a tree that's once it's been infected. Which I think, as I say, is 2 to 5 years is the number that I've heard, but I don't know how big a spread there is really in that. And then a list of the choices that they've got, and the costs, outcomes, and pitfalls of going down those choices. And,
So you're thinking like a packet.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, essentially, it's an action plan because you've got to really demonstrate to them that they have a problem, and then what that problem is, and then what the solutions are. And the final part of the solution, I think, should consist of a series of trees that we would recommend that they choose from for planting, like the elm, for instance. There's others as well that are really good parking lot trees, and we can hopefully come up with a good list.
Like elm, hackberry, black gum? I don't know.
Swamp white oak.
Yes.
Okay.
It's good for a lot of our lowlands.
We've had success with that tree.
Yeah.
So parking lots have special challenges, of course.
Yes.
Well, I know I've got a pretty good little, I'm trying to think of things I have already, like that are just could be in a packet, and all we'd have to do is put that on like Athens letterhead, but I've got the tree ID.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a checklist, but I think I could come up with that, or with your help. We've got the EAB fact sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And all we do is maybe just have 3 little sheets of your replacement trees. So you guys email me what trees. I mean, I could come up with a little fact sheet. I'm
Yeah.
bad at brochures.
Yeah.
It's hard to do the formatting and the bending, but if it was like each species had a little fact sheet, here's what hybrid elm looks like, and here's what hackberry or
Yeah, what I'd like to do is to keep that choice to something like 5 or 6, and no more than 10.
We
so
have all
that
those fact
we
sheets
don't
from-
overwhelm people.
Oh yeah, the street tree fact sheets.
Street tree fact sheets.
But it'd be nice to kind of cheat and steal those and put them on Athens City
Sure,
Tree
absolutely.
Commission.
And then put them on the website.
Yeah, that's a thing to do.
And on the ID, does it have winter features as well as, because leaves are starting to turn?
Yeah, the ID, the ash ID and the ash lookalikes, it's, as I recall, it's been a while since I've looked at it, but and I can tweak it. But yeah, I'll email that stuff to you guys for review.
Okay. Any other items for us to discuss tonight? If not, we have the minutes of the last meeting somewhere around here. Yes, here they are. We can just review those.
There are these commercials. These kids, they're hilarious about not being firewood.
I'll approve the minutes.
Okay.
I second it.
Thank you, Emily. Any items for discussion at all out of the minutes? Is there any objection to approving the minutes of the last meeting? Hearing none, we have minutes of the last meeting. Our next meeting will be Thursday, October the 9th. And with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.